Hello again and welcome back to March May's Midlife Dolly Crisis. So we are currently in June, which means it's Pride Month. So for those of you who don't know, Pride Month is basically the month when big businesses and corporations essentially stick rainbows over their logo and forget for a month that they're actually financing political parties who would like to do away with gay rights. But anyway, today we're going to be opening a doll which is kind of a bit queer-coded, I would say. Not because of the doll itself, but mainly because of the advertising which came out around the doll at the time. So it is Allan. Here he is. So this is the most recent release of him, which was an anniversary edition. He is 60 years old, so he was released in 1964 originally. And he was marketed as Ken's buddy. And he was also marketed in a way that I suppose it was to let parents know that he could wear the same clothes as Ken and they wouldn't have to buy different clothes for him. But the wording of it was that he could share Ken's clothes. And the picture, the original picture on the original release, had basically Allan sort of stripping off with a shirtless Ken sort of looming behind him, which implied all sorts of things, I think. I don't know if it was innocent, who knows. We are going to open Allan and see what we think. This is actually the first Silkstone doll that I've owned, so I'm going to be interested with how he sort of feels and really the weight of them, because to me, Silkstone implies he's going to be heavy. So I'd be interested to see how he compares in weight to a regular doll. But yeah, so let's get into opening him. Okay, so here we go. So this is the box that Allan is in. I'm having to sort of put it at an angle because I can't get the whole thing in frame. So it's quite a simple box, but it is nice. It's quite effective. We've got obviously an image of the doll there. We've got 60 years of Allan in the corner there. His name is sort of superimposed along. And then down here it says Genuine Silkstone Body, Barbie Signature, and then 60th Anniversary Allan doll. So I know that with the other Silkstone dolls, they come in the same kind of box as this. But obviously there's an image of them on the front with their names, and I think they're kind of different colours as well. But it's quite nice. It's quite a sort of classic design, and it's sort of nice if you do collect the Silkstone dolls that they're all in the same kind of boxes and your collection doesn't look like sort of random boxes all stuck together. In a way, I think it's a shame that they didn't do a recreation of the original release in the original packaging. But obviously, you know, it's a Silkstone doll, so I suppose they want to big that up. But I kind of would have liked the whole sort of vintage idea of them recreating the packaging that he would have originally come in, I suppose. But yeah, so we've got this at the front. The back has got just a bit of information there. So you can probably pause it if you want and just give that a bit of a read. It really just tells us about Allan there. We have got here, it says no more than 20,000 worldwide. And then we've obviously got just general information here about the year and the dolls and stuff like that. It actually says 2023, but I bought this doll this year. So it was released this year. I suppose maybe it was in production for a little while. So if we move this back over and I undo the top here. So there was nothing attached. There was no sort of sellotape or anything like that. It literally just slips off. So this is actually quite nice because you can obviously see the doll. It's got a very sort of plain background and everything. If you had a lot of these dolls, you could probably literally display them like this inside the box. And this would probably you could probably just put this on the back of it. And you could sort of just have them like that. Because it does sort of stand up. I guess particularly if you're an inbox collector, you know, that might be quite nice, a quite nice way of seeing the doll without actually getting the doll out of the packaging. But obviously, I'm not an in-box collector, so I'm going to remove him from the box. Okay, so here we go. He's out of the box. It was very easy. He basically had ribbons around his feet, but they were like just one ribbon that was kind of looped round. And he had one sort of around his shoulders. Once you kind of took the inner part of the box out, sort of behind the doll, you just had to untie the ribbons, and then he just slipped out very easily, which was very nice. It was a very nice experience to do that, rather than having to sort of cut anything or, you know, pull stuff out, anything like that. It was all very easy. So that is great. Let's have a look, first of all, at the sort of the extra bits that you get. So I'm just going to put the doll to one side, and we'll have a look at this stuff here. So we do have, we have a care leaflet. So I've never owned a Silkstone doll before, so I don't really know what it is. I presume it is just kind of a kind of plastic, but he is a lot heavier, I would say, than a regular doll. So this is just basically what to do if you want to clean it, and just to say that it's been inspected and, you know, it's past protocol or whatever. But yeah, there is a special care instructions down here about basically just using a soft damp cloth and then dry with a soft cloth. Basically just use something soft if you want to clean it. Hopefully I won't have to do that, but yeah, so that is the care pamphlet-y bit there. We've also got a certificate of authenticity, and this is actually on a nice sort of card here, rather than it literally just being a piece of flappy old paper. So obviously it's got the details on there. This certifies that your 60th anniversary Allan doll was created through the collaborative efforts of designers and artists at Mattel. So that is that. And then we've got the doll stand. So, what differs this from the sort of the Lux doll stands or anything like that is the fact that it's kind of personalised in that it's got his name. There we go. It's got his name on the bottom of the stand. Well, you know, on the base of the stand, I should say. So there's Allan there. The rest of it is pretty standard, so that will just clip in there, and I've done it backwards. There we go, let's turn that round. And he's got kind of a wide clip there for his waist. But yeah, so that is the stand. Let's bring the doll on. So here he is. He is a lot heavier than a regular doll, which I suppose is to be expected. He's obviously solid. I don't really know that much about Silkstone. I'm sure I looked it up at one point, and you know, it isn't actually stone. it is a kind of sort of a fancy plastic, I suppose. But yeah, so all of his head, actually, is his head solid? No, his head isn't solid, because I can obviously I don't want to be crushing the head, but I can actually press into the head. So the head is not a solid piece. I'm presuming the rest of him is solid. I think the rest of him is solid. I presume that's where the weight comes from. Should we have a look at his head first? So here we go. So he's got sort of sandy brown hair with a sort of a brush over and a little bit of a fringe at the front there. His eyebrows obviously match his hair, and his eyes are, I think, exactly the same colour as his hair, which probably would have been, you know, in the original release as well. His lips are a bit sort of pinky browny, I suppose, but nothing major there. He obviously doesn't have, you know, a face up or anything. Not like a proper makeup job. There's no blushing on him as far as I can see. All of his kind of like details are sort of moulded on. So we've got kind of the run of the hair, rather than it being sort of flat, which is quite nice. You can kind of see where the hair sort of parts at the front and comes down. He's got the moulded ears on either side. He looks like a younger man, I would say. But I guess maybe at the time, I don't have a Ken of that era, but I think probably even the Kens looked younger than they do now. He is meant to be Midge's boyfriend, and Midge is Barbie's sister? Younger sister? I don't know. Isn't that bad? I'm not sure. But she's meant to be a younger doll anyway to Barbie. So I guess they would give her someone of a similar age to kind of go out with. The outfit he's wearing is obviously a copy of the original outfit that he came with. As I mentioned in the intro, his clothes, or rather Ken's clothes, can fit him, which, you know, hence the famous tagline. So they didn't really give him a lot. So he's got basically a pair of blue shorts here. They're very nicely made by the looks of it. I don't think there's any fastenings on them. They're literally just elasticated at the waist, so you can kind of push them on and off. And then he's got this sort of, I don't know, cabana shirt on the top. He's obviously kind of like dressed for going to the beach. He's got a collar here, which is quite nice, and it's got a sort of like a toweling effect on the white part. And then he's got all these really nice sort of colours here in the actual shirt part. He's got the short sleeves there, but there's no, I was going to say there's no raw edges, but there is actually a raw edge along at the front of the shirt here, which I'm presuming it probably would have been with the original one. I should just show you this. He does have a tag on his arm, which says Genuine Allan by Mattel. It's the same on both sides. I guess it's nice it's got that. I would like it not to have it, or at least have it removable, but never mind. If we go further down, he's wearing some sandals, and there are actually some of the clear rubber bands on them just to keep them on him. So they are very sort of simple sandals. They've got a sort of a wooden or cork effect sort of bottom. And then we've got a band over them, which is in blue. The blue is the same shade as the shorts and the blue that's in the shirt as well. He does have moulding on his feet, but they aren't exactly, you can't exactly see every single detail of his toes. Unlike his hands, which you can actually sort of make out the fingers, and you can sort of see little sort of nails on there as well. So his hands are kind of posed in the same way on both of the arms. Articulation wise, and I'm presuming that this would have been how they were articulated originally, there isn't a huge amount. I think there's basically 5 parts. So the head will turn from side to side. There's no sort of ball joint or anything like that. The arms similarly will go up and around, down, but they won't come out or anything. There's no kind of shoulder articulation which allows them to come outwards. There's nothing in the waist either. No, there's nothing in the waist. And basically he will just sit like that. But at least his legs don't splay apart or anything. They do actually just sort of sit at a proper angle. Like that, and they kind of only go back that far, so they don't really go backwards. They will literally just kind of lock it in place at a little bit of an angle, but not too much. I just wanted to show you a close-up of the shirt. So I mentioned the toweling detail of the collar around there. If you open it up, there are basically like 2 sort of toweling panels on the inside, on either side. The back doesn't have the toweling on it. But it's nice. It gives it a bit more sort of crispness, and the fabric is obviously thicker there because it is sort of doubled, which is quite nice. I'm presuming this is not fabric that would fray either. So that's okay, I guess. And, you know, because it's meant to be a sort of a beachwear item, it doesn't need to have buttons on it because, you know, you're going to be warm on the beach anyway. So that is the shirt, and we have this tag on the inside. Now this does say 2024 on it. So presumably they knew it was going to be out in 2024 and it was being produced in 2023. So it says Allan 2024 reproduction on there. So I thought we'd have a look at the body shape. Obviously it is quite different to what we are used to. And I am going to grab a Ken, which I have now, which I think is sort of like a regular one, and we can compare the bodies. Okay, so here are 3 Kens. One is on sort of like the regular modern body. So obviously there's a bit more sort of muscular development there. Size-wise, it's probably not that different. Certainly not sort of torso-wise. He is wide at the shoulders, but then his arms are kind of a lot smaller. So this is him compared to this one here. This one is the sort of the petite Ken body. Obviously he's shorter. Height-wise, they are probably very similar. Allan is probably very similar to the modern Ken. Obviously, sort of body-wise, he might be a little bit closer to this one. But obviously, you know, like Barbie, the whole sort of sizing of dolls has changed through the years. I mean, this is Allan's 60th anniversary. So obviously, 60 years ago, people's ideas of what a body would look like are very different to what they are now. And obviously people's diets were different, etc, etc. And I don't really know if they considered any of that when they were designing dolls necessarily. Now, obviously, we try and be a lot more inclusive with different body shapes and things like that. Back then, it was literally like, yeah, just give him the Ken body and he can wear the same clothes. And, you know, that's that. It was the same for Barbie. They all have the same bodies back then as well. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that he does actually stand on his own, because obviously he's got flat feet and the shoes he's wearing are very flat as well. So that's pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on Allan? I know he's become a bit of a sort of a cult figure since the film came out. So obviously he is quite popular. I am kicking myself a little bit because a few months before the film came out, I was actually watching an Allan who came with a lot of different clothes and accessories and stuff like that on eBay, and I almost got him, and then I thought, oh, shouldn't I? And I really wish I had got him now. So this is kind of like the closest thing that I could get. And obviously he's in perfect condition, but there's something kind of nice about the idea of having a vintage Allan. If you are interested in Allan, there is an amazing Instagram account called Wonderful World of Allan, and I will put it in the description box below. Someone has basically got an Allan doll. I think they've migrated the head onto a made-to-move body, and he goes on all sorts of adventures. And he gets sort of dressed up, and it's just a really nice account. And yeah, if you get the chance, please check it out. So I also wanted to mention something at this point. Myself and Kim over at The Dolls, The Witch and the Wardrobe will be dropping some videos on the 29th of June. So we're going to use the hashtag Dolly Pride Parade, and we wanted to open up to everyone. So if you would like to contribute, basically you just need to make a little video on your dolls celebrating Pride. It doesn't have to necessarily be a parade. It can be a party, or, you know, just kind of like a get together of your dolls or whatever. But yeah, the theme is obviously Pride, because it is coming to the end of Pride Month at that point. It's just kind of a fun little thing, I think, just to kind of celebrate the end of Pride for another year. So please give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and also please share the video if no one else would like this kind of content. And I will see you in the next one. So until then, take care. Bye.